Hey guys, it's Brian from Spreadsheet Sports, and I'm here to talk about the new multi-lineup optimizer that we have for NFL season. So I'm going to assume that you've seen the video on the projection tool and how that works. And now this is going to be taking those projections that you've created and pushing them over to the lineup optimizer so that you can generate multiple lineups at once from your set of projections. So I'm here on the FanDuel Optimal Lineup tab, and to get all of the projections, all of the data that you've created in the projection tool over to the lineup optimizer, you'll need to make sure you have both of the files open in Excel. So you'll see that I have the optimizer open here as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click this Send to Multi-Lineup Optimizer button. You should see the screen change for a minute as it kind of pulls all the data over. And now everything is set and ready to go in the lineup optimizer. The first thing I want to do now is I want to close this projection tool file. I don't want that open when I'm running lineups. So I'm going to close that off, and now I have just my optimizer open. So there's a couple things you can do once you're here. The first thing that you'll see along the left-hand side here is where you can lock, exclude, and set exposure on players. So if I want to make sure that Eddie Lacy is in all of the lineups that I generate, I can put an L next to his name. And I definitely don't want Colin Kaepernick in my lineups, so I'm going to hit X next to him. And I can kind of go through and do that for any players that I have a given hunch on. I can also go through and set a exposure level. So if I'm fine with DeMarco Murray, but I don't want him to end up in all of my lineups since he looks to be the top value at running back in this particular set of projections. So I'm going to set a exposure level of 50%, so I'm going to put a 0.5 on him, so that will ensure that he's not in more than 50% of the lineups that I request. So he's the only one that I'm going to put any kind of exposure on. So I think I'm kind of set and ready to go. I can move over here. This is just another way to do your lock. If you kind of have a set of players that you want locked into your lineup, and you just want the tool to optimize for 2 or 3 positions, you can go through and you can set all of your players that you want locked into this lineup lock box up here. And then just as you can do in the projection tool, you can set the lineup settings, so you can gear it towards a GPP, so you would have a lower ownership percentage and a higher risk level versus a cash game where you'd have higher ownership and lower risk. You can set custom levels for any of these, and you can also just leave it at none, so it's finding the best possible lineup for any type of format. And then you can go over here and request the number of lineups that you'd like to get. So you can set that number to any number that you want. The higher the number that you request, the longer it's going to take to generate. But it should run pretty quickly, just a couple of seconds per lineup to create. So I'm going to go with 10 right now, and I'm going to hit the Find Optimal Lineups button. And you'll see the tool kind of working in the background. Here in the left-hand side, you'll see the status and how everything's running through. It should take a couple seconds, and it should provide that lineup for you. So you see that it included Eddie Lacy in every lineup, just like I requested to lock him in. And DeMarco Murray was in the first 5 lineups, but then he wasn't in any of the lineups after that because I set the exposure level on him to 50%. And then it will rank them in order here. So the best total projection out of all the lineups will be this first one here, and it will go down the list and give you all of those lineups that you've created. You'll also see the total ownership across the average across all the players in that lineup, and then the risk level as well. So you can kind of see which lineups are more risky and where the ownership is going to lie. But but that should give you all of the lineups you request. You can always go back and make changes to what you see here, and then run it again and get additional lineups. So that is the multi-lineup optimizer tool.